Hanley Elementary. I'm also Google Trainer certified, and I am an official 90s kid, so putting together this presentation was a lot of fun for me. I liked this little joke over here. If your boy crush had this haircut, it's time for eye cream. My crushes did not have this haircut, but some of my cousins definitely did. All right, so what are we going to look at? We're going to look at what are digital breakouts, where can you find resources for them, and can you really make one in less than 20 minutes? Yes, you can. We're going to make one today. And then just a little fun. How are you doing today? It's Thursday, but it's also 8 in the morning. We're technically on vacation. This is the first session. So if you want to pop in the chat, which share are you feeling like today? Hopefully by the end of the day, you're closer to a 3 or a 5. But if you're starting off at a different number today, you can pop that in the chat. I will pop back a lot of 6s. 6s, that's good. Getting ready to learn. All right, let's get started. Digital breakouts are banging. Let's take a tour and talk about how you might use them with your students. So just to start off, yes, I am a librarian, but if you're like, oh, I need to leave because I don't teach reading or I don't want to use these with books, don't worry. I'm going to give you tons of resources to use them for any and every subject. Okay, so why even do breakouts? They're fun. The kids enjoy them. They're kind of like an escape room. Also, they can go with any subject. They encourage collaboration. The kids have to work together. They teach 21st century skills. They're doing a lot of problem solving, which for me, especially when I was in the classroom, problem solving was a huge deficit with our kiddos. They would come up to me with a broken pencil and hold it out and say, what do I do? Well, you go sharpen your pencil. They really lack that skill of, okay, I have a problem. What do I need to do to solve it? So breakouts are really good for building that problem-solving, critical thinking skills. And it's an easy review that is not drill and kill, because our kids don't need any more drill and kill worksheets. They would rather do fun things like breakouts, and honestly, so would we. So what are they? Show you a few examples. And before I do that, I'm going to change this to my entire screen. Okay. All right, so what are they? Just a quick overview of what one looks like. This is the behind the scenes of one. You have your skills focus. You create the task. What are the things they're going to have to do? You might want to come up with a story. And then you're going to have passwords and locks so that they have to actually unlock it. And you're going to have clues. You might have like a passage with a puzzle. And then you're going to put it into something that they have to actually put their answers into. And we're going to walk through all of this, just showing you a quick overview of what one looks like. Okay, and then at the end, you might have something like, hey, you defeated King Boo, or whatever your theme is. Okay, so this is one that I made for our 5th graders last year. It was on the book, Wait Till Helen Comes. So we had a little trailer. This was actually the trailer for the movie, not the book, but they enjoyed seeing that because they can't watch the movie. It was rated inappropriate for them, but they got to see the trailer. And then we had a timer. I just got both of these from YouTube. This was the form where they had to put their answers. And then we had our clues. So with this one, I got this map from the book. I stuck in a compass rose because they were still working on their directions. And then they just had clues of if they start here and they go here, which direction is that? So that was their first lock. Then I used a text message generator, and they had to get a clue from here. And then I used this one. Why should you be afraid of Helen? And it was, you take the H, E from heart, and that's the first part of Helen's name, And if you work out this puzzle, it's hell and burn down the house. And then I thought this was a cool one for this one. It was a tombstone generator. And since the book is about a graveyard, I stuck a clue on a tombstone. So fruit is your clue. The word berry is mentioned throughout the book. So that was their clue for that. So they would work out these puzzles, and then they would put them on this Google form. And if they got it all right, it would unlock, and we celebrate it. So that's just an example of one. I also made one for field day one year. We had a half day field day, so for the other half of the day, they needed something to do. So this was just a like maniacal laugh. I guess YouTube took it off. But so they watched the PE teacher from the Black Lagoon. They had a timer. And then for this one, I gave the teachers the clues to post around their classroom. So you can do like a hybrid one where it's not all digital, that there's still clues around the classroom, but then they can come here and put the clues on a Google form. Okay, so just a couple examples of ones that I've made. Okay, if you don't have technology, does that mean you can't do breakouts? Absolutely no. If you just have one device, you can still do breakouts. You can put your clues around the room, and then you can just, whatever the one device you have, they can use the same Google form, and they can just sign in, put their answers, and submit it. You can also have them write all of their answers on paper, and then have them turn them into you, or have some way that they can check it. You can do a mixture like I did with the field day one, where you have some technology, but you also have clues around the room that are paper, physical clues. So don't let the lack of technology hold you back. And my favorite, again, share with her as if. Don't let technology keep you from doing breakouts. All right, digital breakouts are all that in a bag of chips. So let's look at some places where you can find resources. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are tons of stuff out there. So when you're making a digital breakout, you want to think about a few things. You want to think about the age group. The one I made for 5th grade is going to be different than one that I might make for 2nd grade. If you're, I don't know if we have any secondary people here, but one that you're making for 8th graders might be different than the one that you're making for your 6th graders. You want to think about how much time do you have. How many, if you have an hour, you might want to do 6 clues. But if you're only targeting for like 30 minutes, you might want to just do 3 clues. And it really depends on your kids. You know your kids. Are they going to be able to solve those clues in that time and feel successful and not just frustrated? You want to think about, are you going to do groups? Are you going to do pairs? I usually do pairs just because we had some behavior issues, but if your kids are getting along and gelling, then you might want to do groups of 3 or 4. Also might depend on how hard you make your clues. If you think that it would be better to have more people in a group. You want to keep the clues tricky but not frustrating. So you want them to struggle and you want them to have to problem solve, but you don't want them to feel so frustrated that they just give up and stop trying. And if you're going to give hints, you want to think about how are they going to get the hints. Are they supposed to raise their hand? Is there something they're supposed to hold up? And you just want to have them at the ready. Or if you're going to embed them into wherever you put your digital breakout. And I'll show you a couple different ways that you can do that later. All right, so the puzzles. I have tons of places for you to get the puzzles. I'm going to show you a few of my favorites right now. ClassTools.net has tons of really great things just for your classroom, period, but especially for digital breakouts. One of them is they have a fake Facebook. So you can make a Facebook page for one of the characters, or if you're doing this with social studies, like they have Abraham Lincoln here, you could do a historical person and embed some clues in their Facebook profile that the kids had to pull out. You could do a crossword and embed some clues in there. Image labeling, you could label some of the images with clues. Here is that fill in the gaps generator with the closed reading So you can have like a whole passage and they have to go through and find out clues. Image reveal. We have, this was the text message one, the SMS generator. Certificate generator, you could have a certificate that's a clue, and they have to look at the certificate to pull out a clue. Badge maker, newsfeed generator. This breaking news generator one is fun. Headline generator. Tons of different ones that you can stick in. So I really like classtools.net. All right, let me show you the next one. Okay, so this one is from the actual Breakout EDU website. They also have tons that you can use. This one is sign language generator. So you could put things in sign language and then those are your clues. A receipt. So like if you were doing math and you wanted to have a receipt and they have to look through the receipt to pick up on clues. A prescription generator is kind of cool. Acrostic generator if you're teaching poetry. Cryptograms, barcode, Morse code, code emoji. We know the kids love emojis. Jigsaw planet, that's a cool one. You can upload a picture and turn it into a jigsaw. Rebus, that was what I did for the Helen burned down the house, was the Rebus generator. Concert ticket would be really fun. And random sign generator, random note generator. So lots of really cool ways to make the puzzles, and they don't take a lot of time, and you would just pop those into your breakout. And then this one had a couple that I thought were unique. Periodic table message generator. So if you're teaching science or your book that you're teaching about has some science in it, I thought that would be cool. Custom eye chart maker. Wheel of Fortune one, which we're going to use in our example that we're going to do. And this one's fun. This Hollywood star generator. So tons out there. I have even more to share with you later. But those are just some of the really cool puzzles that you can make. All right, digital breakouts. Oh, snap. Let's see how easy it is to build one from scratch. So first, you need to decide on a theme or topic. Then you're going to choose your clues or your task. Then you're going to have the kids, or you're going to solve the clues or tasks so that you can work backwards. So you want to have your answers before you're making your puzzles so that you know what your end goal is. And then you want to find ways to present the clues and create your hints. And then you want to make a Google form for the answers and embed everything onto a Google site. Okay, so let me go back. So we're going to make one from scratch right now. I pulled out a book from my shelf this morning and it was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So that's what I'm going to make one about. But just as a reminder, you can make them about anything. Okay, so the first step is where are you going to house your digital breakout? I prefer to do them on a Google site, but you don't have to. You could use slides and you can have each clue on a different slide, and if they get it wrong, it links them to a different slide. So you can really do it wherever you want to do it. But today I'm going to show you how to make one on the site. Okay, so we're going to go New, Google Sites. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, so in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they live in a town called Chew and Swallow. So we're going to call this Escape from Chew and Swallow. Do the same thing here. I'm just going to abbreviate there. All right, so with Google Sites, there's not a lot of design things that you get to choose, but you can change the image up here. You can change your theme with your colors. So it's not as fancy, but you can get as fancy as you want to be. I'm going to leave it pretty plain for right now. So then I need my clues. So I'm going to do the first clue is going to be a word puzzle. So I'm going to go to that Wheel of Fortune generator. And I actually already made it to save time. So in the book, they have to call the game on account of pi. So I'm going to upload my Wheel of Fortune puzzle. Sorry, my dog is going crazy. So here it is. It says game called on account of pi, but I left out some of the letters. So they would have to solve this. So then I'm just going to embed a text box and say, this is going to be a word puzzle. And then you could put your hint here, or like I said, you could have a different way for them to get hints. I'm going to put mine here, and I'm going to say all caps. So that's really important, and you'll see when we make the Google form, you need to tell them that it needs to be numbers or it needs to be caps, or else they're going to struggle with getting it to be right. So my hint to them is going to be all caps. So I could say word puzzle, or I could get creative and I could say, why was the game canceled? Okay, however you want to phrase your clue, however fancy you want to get, can be there. I can change the colors a little bit, get a little fancy with it. I can move this around. Like I said, you have those design options if you want your clue to be right next to your puzzle, things like that. So you can get as fancy with it as you want. But like I said, that took like not very much time, and we already have one puzzle done. All right, for my next puzzle, I'm going to do the reveal image. So I'm going to go to that reveal an image puzzle maker from classtools.net. And in the book, they have a tomato tornado. So I'm going to upload that. Saved. Yep. So now when the kids come to this website, they'll do the reveal, and eventually they will see that it was a tomato tornado. So you can see what will happen. They can do the slow reveal. You can do fewer tiles. You can do more tiles if you want to break it up more. So then you would just stick this into your breakout that we're building. And sorry, mouse is going crazy. So we're gonna, sorry guys, mouse is being crazy. Okay, so they would do the image reveal. They would get that it's a tomato tornado. So it's here. And then, whoops, text box. You might say weather like Texas, something that we might have in Texas. Or what color was the weather? Or what color was the tornado? However you want to phrase your question. And then remember, for word ones, you want to make sure if you tell them all caps is easiest, or you might want to say all lowercase. When you mix the lowercase and the caps, that's when it gets a little tricky for them. Okay, so 2 puzzles already down. All right, so we're just going to do one more. And this one is just going to be a word one. So in the story, I took a couple of the numbers. So this one's going to be inches plus miles. So they're going to have to do a little math. In the story, it mentions that there were 15 inches and then 5 miles. So they would have to look back in the story, find those numbers, do the math, and that's how they would get that answer. So then for my hint, I'm going to say numbers, or I might say 2-digit number, whatever you think might help them. That might be a hint. Like I said, if you have a different system for hints, that's totally fine. Like maybe they have to raise their hand or hold up a piece of paper and you come and like whisper it to that group, however you want to do it, or you can actually just put them here. And then, like I said, you can have fun changing the colors if you want, or leave it. Totally up to you. All right. You might want to put some stuff from YouTube, like the timer or a little video that gets them excited. To do that, all you have to do is go over here, make sure you're on Insert and YouTube, and then search for whatever you want. There's a lot of fun timers. The one I used on the Helen one was like a bomb one, and they really enjoyed that one because they like hearing it explode. So you can choose how long based on how many clues and how hard the clues are. Pick whichever one you want. I'm just going to pick this 20-minute one, and you're going to hit select, and it's going to pop it in here. If you don't like where it is, maybe you want it at the top, just move it. The cool thing about Google Sites is you can just drag and move very easily. I'm going to undo some of that. Get a little crazy with my dragging. Okay, and then if you want to insert anything else, it's the same thing, insert and YouTube. If you already have something made that you want to add as a clue maybe, it's the same thing, insert. You can insert docs, you can insert slides, sheets, forms, charts. Maybe you've made a chart. That would be a cool clue. You can put any of those in here very easily. If you want to make each of your clues on a different page, you can do that as well. It's just pages and plus sign. And then you can have each clue on a different page. So if you feel that having them all on the home page would be a little overwhelming for your kids, then you could do different pages. And then, like I said, here you can change the theme. Not a lot of choices, but if you're going for a certain aesthetic that you want, then you do have a few choices over here. All right, so our last step to this, we've got our puzzles, is we need a place for them to answer. So we're going to do a Google form. So I'm going to go back here to my drive, new, Google form. Again, Google form doesn't have a lot of fancy things you can do with it, but you can change your color palette. So if you're going for a certain one. All right, we're going to call this escape practice. And whatever you type there is going to become here as well. Form description, you can put, can you break out in time? Can you escape in time? Whatever you want to put there. All right, our first question is going to be, why was the game canceled? And then you're going to want to say short answer. You're going to want to make sure that it's required. So you're going to toggle this on. If it's toggled off, then they're not going to have to answer it. So you want to make sure that it's on. And then you're going to want to make sure that you click on these 3 dots right here. And you're going to want to go to response validation. So I'm going to show that again. The 3 dots, response validation. This is what makes them have to answer it a certain way. So we want this to be text, and we want it to contain game called on account of pie. So that's the answer that we want them to type in. And I put it in all caps. And then remember on our hint, I said all caps, so that when they do their form, when they answer this, they're going to know that it needs to be all caps. Okay, and then this custom error text, this is what they're going to get if they get it wrong. So you might want to put a hint here, or you might want to say, remind them about the all caps, or you might, if you have a period in yours, like when I did the Helen burned down the house, I had a period at the end, and that was throwing a lot of kids off. So you might want to give them a little clue about, hey, put a period, or what goes at the end of your sentence. So this error text is what they're going to see if they get it wrong. So you can put whatever you think would best help them here, or you don't have to put anything at all, and they just have to keep trying. All right, so we've got our first question. We're going to go on to our second one. That was the one about the image. They would have to do the reveal. And then, so our question is, what color is the tornado? Again, I'm doing really low-level questions here. You can get really tricky with your kids, but just for time's sake, I'm keeping it pretty simple. So we're going to do short answer. We're going to make it required. So we toggle that on. We're going to do our 3 dots. We're going to go down to response validation. This one, I still want text, and I want it to be the color red. My custom error text here might be all caps, or it might be color, whatever I think might help them. But you don't have to put anything. I'm going to put caps. Okay, our third and final question for this one is our math one. So we're going to say inches plus miles. Okay, we want short answer. We want to make it required. And for our response validation on this one, we want a number. So we have number. We don't want greater than or less than. We want it to be exactly what we want it to be, which is 15 plus 5. And so the answer is 20. So we want to make sure that they have to put in 20. If they put anything else in, it's going to be wrong, and they're going to get this little message. So my message for this one might be, check your math, or look back at the numbers, or something like that, that triggers to them, hey, I didn't do my math right, I need to check it. Okay, so we've got our Google form made. You can add other things in here, like you might want to have them have to put their name. They might have to put their homeroom, things like that. I'll go ahead and throw a name one on here. And if you don't like the order of your questions, if you haven't used Google Forms a lot, the cool thing is you can just drag them, change the order. So if I put name, I'm just going to make that required. Short answer, they can put their name. That way you'll know who answered and who didn't. All right, so our Google form is done. So we're just going to get the link to it. Over here, you click on the gear. And if you want to make them sign in, you could collect their emails. If you want to limit them to just one, if you want to let them see the answers afterwards, these are some decisions you can make. And we're going to get our link by clicking on send. Click on the little chain link. Copy. So then you could go over to your site and you could embed that by going insert, embed, and putting it. Or an easier way, if you're using Google Sites, is I can just throw that whole form on there by inserting it. So I'm under insert. I'm going to go down here to forms. It should be towards the top because I just made it, but if it's ever not, just scroll through your forms and find it. Here it is right here. So I'm going to highlight it by clicking on it and insert. And there is my form. So it can be right here on my breakout, or you could have it on a different window, whatever works best for you and your kids. I kind of like having it all in one place, so they're not going to different tabs and accidentally closing them. But like I said, whatever works for you guys. So here is what they have to answer, and it's right here. If they need to pop it out in a new tab, they can. If they can't see everything, or you want it to be bigger, you just drag. Right, so our published site would look like this. So they would have their timer. You might have, like I said, a little teaser to get them excited. Here are their questions. Here are their puzzles. So this first one, why was the game canceled? They would go up here. I'm not logged in. But they could type it right there, and it's going to tell them if it's wrong. It'll give them that little hint if you provide a hint. Or they might look back at this hint and see, oh, yeah, I need to use all caps. So there's a breakout. Already made, took us less than 15 minutes. 3 clues, 3 puzzles, ready to go. All right, so we're going to go back to our slideshow. All right, alrighty then. So what are they? I gave you tons of examples here that I'm going to go through and just show you some of these. That you don't have to start from scratch if you want to. Like you saw, it doesn't take very long to build them. You can even get with your team and build them and share them. But there's also tons of already made ones out there that I'm going to share with you. This is a master list I found. All kinds of books. Dogman, Harry Potter, Treasure Island, Dr. Seuss. Also has ones based on fairy tales, television, movies, library-based ones, location-based ones, which was kind of cool, like Escape from Mount Washington. Educational ones, Escape the Titanic. How fun would that be? We know that kids love learning about the Titanic, the Revolution, Famous Americans, spaceships, zoo. If you're teaching about the zoo, they have to escape from the zoo. Toy rooms. Then we go up here to teens. We have even more. We've got Hunger Games, The Hobbit, Stranger Things. They've got some miscellaneous ones here. Space Explorer. You know, that would be really cool with all the space tourism we have going on. They might be interested in that. Zombie. You know, the kids love zombies. And then for fun, there's some adult ones here. And some resources. So this one's a really good link to do. It's called Master List on my slide. Math and science people, like I said, don't worry. There are tons out there for you too. Get through this. So they've got one for adding and subtracting integers, word problems, slope, graphing, solving two-step equations, making math fun. So they're all here. They're free. Great ones for that. This one's just more math ones. I'll fix that link. It looks like it changed. PE and health. You guys can even do breakouts. It's going to be a little slow to load here, but like there's ones about your heart, stop the heart attack, nutrition, leprechaun, how many steps, Olympic dreams, that would fit in perfect with the Olympics coming up, PE breakout, tons of fun ones there. The Breakout EDU has an area called Sandbox, and this is where people have made their own, and then they upload them here to share them. So awesome resources here. You can find all different ones. There's a World War II one. Here's one about the Book of the Wild Robot. Here's a Halloween night one. So people are constantly adding to this, and then you can even submit yours here if you want to share one that you've made. So again, you're not having to start from scratch. Holiday ones. We all know that kids get a little squirrely around the holidays. So why not do a breakout? There's tons of fall ones. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And then they just added this one. That's cool. The Apollo 11 moon landing. And then some more freebies here. 25 more free ones that are already made. So there's an Abraham Lincoln, American Revolution, Alice in Wonderland, animals, brain teasers. Kids love those. The Civil War, Dogman. Can't keep those on the shelf, as we know. Fortnite, Halloween, 2 Halloween ones. Really cool. So free. And they're out there. There's tons more if you just Google. So don't feel like you have to do them all from scratch. But as I showed you, that it doesn't take very long to do one from scratch. More resources to get your puzzles. This first one is a Symbaloo, full of different puzzles. This one has like a mystery piano, fake airline tickets. I thought that was a fun one. Puzzle maker. You could do a virtual flame. All kinds of really cool ones here, all in one place. Blueprint. I thought that was kind of cool too. You could have to make them have a fingerprint. Teachers pay teachers. You guys, if you don't know me, I don't like to spend a lot of money. So with teachers pay teachers, when you go here, just make sure you go down to free, and you can find free ones. So you see there's 536 results that are all free for you to use. Some of them are already made, like solving equations with distributive property. Thanksgiving one already made. Spanish. Themed breakout. So Teacher Pay Teacher is a great resource to get ones too. Unique Tools is that one that I showed you earlier with some of the just different fun ones. And Class Tools is the one that I showed you, has the image reveal, the text message generator, Morse code, fake Facebook, all kinds of different ones. So you can, they won't feel like they're doing the same thing over and over because you can do different types of puzzles and clues. And then again, that Breakout EDU one has tons of ones that you can use as well. And, oh, sorry. And if you're like trying to make one and you're like, I don't remember anything that she said, I included this really good article that is a step-by-step, kind of like what I walked you through. But if you are one of those people who like need to see it as you do it, here are the step-by-step directions. So writing your prompts, creating your clues, making images if you want to make images, how to make that Google form to make your different locks, and how to make it all on a Google site. But like I said, you don't have to use a Google site if you don't want to. You can use slides, you can use docs, however you want to make it. So that's here for you to walk you through it. And just a reminder that you don't have to pay money. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy anything. You can create one for free on your own, or you can find one that's already made, make a copy of it, change it up so that it fits your needs. They're there. And so we're going to finish up with, of course, the clear phone was a staple in my house. It's how I got all the hot gossip in 1997. And we're going to bounce, but don't forget to fill out the attendance form. So the link is here, and I'll also put that in the chat for you. Again, the name of this session was Dynamite Digital Breakouts. And if you have any questions or you get started making one and you get stuck, feel free to email me. I have a flex schedule, so I am happy to help anytime. And so I'm going to throw both of these links in the chat. So that is your attendance link, and let me grab the link to the presentation one more time. And thank you guys for coming. I hope that you have a great day of learning at Icon. And again, feel free to reach out if you need